Title page: Jesus in India, being an account of Jesus' escape from death on the cross and of his journey to India. By Hadhrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement in Islam, 1989, Islam International Publications, Limited. Preface to the book. Jesus in India is an English version of Masih Hindustan, an Urdu treatise written by the holy founder of the Ahmadiyya movement in Islam, Hadhrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, 1835 to 1908. The main thesis expounded in the treatise is Jesus' escape from an ignominious death on the cross and his subsequent journey to India in quest of the lost tribes of Israel, whom he had to gather into his fold as mentioned in the New Testament. Abundant evidence has been furnished from Christian as well as Muslim scriptures, old medical books, and books of history, including ancient Buddhist records, to illustrate the theme. Starting upon his journey from Jerusalem and passing from thence through Nablus and Iran, Jesus is shown to have reached Afghanistan, where he met the Jews who had settled there after their deliverance from the bondage of Nebuchadnezzar. From Afghanistan, Jesus went to Kashmir, where some Israelite tribes had also settled. He made this place his home, and here he died. His tomb has been traced and found in Khanyar Street, Srinagar. In the section dealing with the evidence adduced from ancient Buddhistic records, Hadhrat Ahmad has resolved a question which, owing to its difficult nature, has for a long time confounded many a Western writer. These writers have been baffled by the striking resemblance that exists between Christian and Buddhistic teachings, and between the life events of both Jesus and Buddha, as revealed in their respective scriptures. Some of these writers hold the view that Buddhistic teachings must somehow have reached Palestine and been assimilated by Jesus in his own sermons, but there is absolutely no historical proof to support this theory. A Russian traveler named Nicholas Notovich stayed for quite some time with lamas in Tibet and had their sacred books translated for him. He is of the opinion that Jesus must have come to Tibet before the crucifixion and gone back to Palestine after having imbibed Buddhistic teachings. This also is a mere statement unsupported by reliable historical evidence. Repudiating both these views, Hadhrat Ahmad writes that Jesus came to India not before the event of the cross, but after it, and that it was not he who borrowed Buddhistic teachings, but the followers of Buddha who seem to have reproduced the entire picture of the Gospels in their books. According to Hadhrat Ahmad, Jesus also visited Tibet during his travels in India in search of the lost tribes of Israel. He preached his messages to Buddhistic monks, some of whom were converted Jews. The followers of Buddha were deeply impressed by his teachings and took him to be the manifestation of Buddha and their promised teacher. With faith in him as their master, they mixed his teachings with their own records and ascribed it all to the Buddha. Ample evidence in support of this is furnished from ancient Buddhistic records. Masih Hindustan was written in 1899, and it marks the end of an era in which for centuries Muslims and Christians had believed in the ascension of Jesus to heaven. It being the first book ever written on the subject with such a rational approach, the book produced a most profound impact. Its arguments were broadcast, and in the past half-century it has achieved remarkable success in divesting Jesus of false appurtenances of divinity and in presenting him to the world merely as a divine prophet as he actually was. In Muslim circles, the effect has been so marked that the rector of the Al-Azhar University in Cairo issued a fatwa verdict that according to the Holy Koran, Jesus had died a natural death. Its influence on the Christian mind has also been greatly disturbing. As stated in the introduction and also at the end of the book, Hadhrat Ahmad intended to write a second part in which he would have given, besides some additional proofs of Jesus' journey to India, a comparative evaluation of the teachings of Islam and Christianity with some cogent arguments in proof of the truth of Islam as well as of his own claim to be the promised Messiah. Though no other book among his writings bears this title, yet Hadhrat Ahmad has discussed thoroughly all these issues with many more important ones concerning the truth of Islam, of his own claim, and of the death of Jesus, in quite a number of books which he wrote after the above-mentioned book. The present English translation was made by Qazi Abdul Hamid, formerly editor of a weekly, The Sunrise, Lahore, in which it appeared serially during 1938 and 39. It was first published in book form in 1944 by Nashr-o-Khizhat, Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya, Qadian. Besides others who have assisted us in any way in the production of this book, our thanks are due to Mr. Maulud Amar Khan, a former Imam of the London Mosque, who went to great pains to gather relevant quotations from the original books which have been referred to by Hadhrat Ahmad in support of his thesis. The quotations have been attached to the book in the form of an appendix. Vakil ut Tabshir Tahrik-i-Jadid Rabwah, Pakistan, May 1962. Beginning of the book. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we praise Him and invoke His blessings upon His noble Prophet. Lord, judge between us and our people with truth. Thou art the best of judges. Introduction. I have written this book so that by adducing proofs from established facts, from conclusive historical evidence of proved value, and from ancient documents of non-Muslims, I might remove the serious misconceptions which are current among Muslims and among most Christian sects regarding the earlier and the later life of Jesus, on whom be peace. Misconceptions, the dangerous implications of which have not only injured and destroyed the conception of divine unity, but the unwholesome and poisonous influence of which has for long been noticed in the morals of the Muslims of this country. Spiritual maladies, that is, want of good morals, evil thoughts, callousness, want of sympathy, are spreading among most Islamic sects, being the result of beliefs in unfounded stories and anecdotes of this kind. Human sympathy, pity, and love of justice, humility, and humble-mindedness, all good qualities, are disappearing day by day, as if they will soon bid a last farewell to this community. This callousness and this immorality make many a Muslim appear no better than the beasts of the jungle. A Jain or a Buddhist is afraid of and avoids killing even a mosquito or a flea, but, alas, there are many among us Muslims who, while they kill an innocent man or commit wanton murder, are not afraid of the powerful God, who rates human life higher than that of all the animals. What is this callousness and cruelty and want of sympathy due to? It is due to this, that from their very childhood, stories and anecdotes and wrong views of the doctrine of jihad are dinned into their ears and inculcated into their hearts, the result being that gradually they become morally dead and cease to feel the heinousness of their hateful actions. Nay, rather, the man who murders another man unawares and thus brings ruin to the murdered man's family thinks that he has done a meritorious deed, or rather that he has made the most of an opportunity to win favor with his community. As no lectures or sermons are delivered in our country to stop such evils, and if there are any such lectures they have an element of hypocrisy in them, the common people think approvingly of such misdeeds. Accordingly, taking pity upon my own people, I have compiled several books in Urdu, Persian, and Arabic, in which I have stated that the popular view of jihad prevalent among Muslims, that is, the expectation of a bloody Imam, full of spite and hostility for other people, is a texture of false beliefs inculcated by short-sighted ulema. Otherwise, Islam does not allow the use of the sword for the faith, except in the case of defensive wars, or in the case of wars waged to punish